Hi, I'm the Space Quest Historian. Here's my second progress report on playing Beyond the Steel Sky. Look, this is gonna be a bit tough for me, because there are some things here that are really starting to irritate me a bit, and I don't want to be irritated. In fact, part of me is telling me to just shut up and roll with it, because here's a thing I've essentially wished would exist for the better part of 3 decades, and now it's here, and I want to love this. Don't get me wrong, I am still enjoying myself very much, but at the same time, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about how some things are unfolding. So I hope this will make more sense when I tell you about where I am in the game. Okay, first of all, remember this woman I showed you briefly at the end of the last video? Yeah, she's like a sleeper agent or something. She painted over the big Joey mural on the floor here, and then she climbed up on top of this building and made a big stink until Commandant Wankstain here and his lovely protege reminded her of her actual name, and then she suddenly went, whoops, the fuck am I doing up here? Side note, this game could not be setting up Captain Pissface here as the main antagonist any more clearly if they put a giant black mask over his head, gave him a cape and a respiratory ailment. I'm just saying, have some fucking subtlety, guys. Anyway, some more hacking shit, and then we send this cleaning robot up to get the lady down, and then we have a chat about her, in the third person, as if she's not standing right the fuck there. She doesn't mind, though. This other lady, Orana, works for the same ministry as Darth Fartface over here, but seems much less taken by the dark side than he clearly is. Okay, so off to reprogramming you go. Maybe they have paint by numbers there, that brainwashing spa they're so obviously sending you to. You'll love it. Okay, look, let's pause this for a moment. I've seen enough dystopian science fiction to know an oppressive regime when I see one, and this George Orwell kind of bullshit with the 5 different evil ministries who obviously don't have their public's best interest at heart, and this Philip K. Dick bullshit with the mind scrambling and the sleeper agent stuff. You know, there's a lot to be said for nodding at your influences, but this is a little on the nose, isn't it? Maybe it all ties together in a fantastic, unexpected way later, but right now, it feels like I've seen this before, and not just once. So anyway, before our wife left us to piddle around the apartment, it's ours now too, apparently. Look, hang on, let me stop here for a moment again. I'm sorry, but this is a lot of trust to put in some ragged dude who just showed up one day with your husband's chip implanted in his hand, and you're just gonna let him poke around your house? Just walk into your bedroom and start fondling your plush toy collection? This lady clearly does not give 2 fucks about her personal safety, and even after Robert admits he's from the Gap and is here illegally, she just sort of shrugs and is like, what are you gonna do? Okay, before she left us to play Home Invasion, she said something about her husband having a contact, and since we went into this with no plan whatsoever, finding this contact is our only lead. The contact's name is Lead. Lead is our lead. No one makes a joke about this. Also, the names in this game are just fucking stupid. Anyway, Foster finds this box taped to the outside of the wall, which contains a photograph of the dog vehicle. I swear it looks nothing like a dog, but everyone in the game thinks it does, so okay, I'll roll with it. And a broken data crystal. Fascinating. Anyway, using our elite hacking skills, we trace the whereabouts of Graham's contact to someplace. No one quite knows where this is, though.
What would I know about an old area code?
I do not recognize E1594.
Can you help me find the location E1594?
No.
So, without anything else to do, let's go check out the museum. Okay, look, here's my problem with putting museums in video games. It's never interesting. Gabriel Knight 2 infamously took some superbly interesting plot development and stuck it in the most boring chapter in video gaming history. It turns out it's no fun walking around just clicking exhibits and having the plot dumped at you in the most boring way possible. It's also a bit lazy because all this exposition about how Union City changed after Joey left could have been doled out by characters bit by bit instead of being just dumped at you through all these dull talking exhibits. It's also painfully evident by this time that this new Council of Five Ministries is pure evil and obviously weren't left in charge by Joey willingly. But I can sort of feel the game is expecting me to hold my breath and act surprised when this big reveal comes. And this worshipping of Joey as a Jesus-like savior of some kind really doesn't sit very well with me. 10 years. 10 years was all it took for them to build him up into this Christ-like figure. I mean, they even use his name instead of the word God. Like, thank Joey. Like, praise Joey. Well, how fucking stupid are these people? See, even Foster hates this dipshit on sight.
Okay, friend. Are you here to walk with Joey? The mind's always on Joey, that's for sure.
Wait, you can insult his what now? Oh, Foster, no, man. Okay, so you find Joey's circuit board in this museum exhibit of old city shit, and once again, I'm a bit annoyed at this. This is fan service, but of the not good kind. Proper fan service done right would have been like seeing this transporter robot stuck out in the back of the loading bay so fans could walk by it and go, oh shit, that's the transporter robot from the original. That's a nice touch. Kind of what they did with the elevator music in the apartment, but here it's just like every connection to the old game just shoved into one location, like someone just said, all right, that's all the stuff you missed from the first game. Our work here is done.
Meet Spunky, lifelong friend and companion of our benefactor, Danielle Piermont. Spunky was a friend to all low-life citizens and a true symbol of Union City spirit until he was found drowned in a pond at the tender age of 7.
Wait, he did what? Spunky drowned in the first game? Did Foster drown a fucking dog? I don't think so. The dog is loving the swim, first of all, and also it would be very, very super cruel to make the player drown a dog. Actually, come to think of it, this game does have a bit of a mean streak towards animals. Well, birds for the most part, but at least we haven't drowned anything yet. Oh, and what's this? They even put Link's biomechanical tentacles from the underground in here? Are you kidding me? Did they just lob them up with a hacksaw and haul them up and stick them in here? And this information droid here doesn't even know what they are. So you're telling me they left Joey in charge to rebuild society, and he just sort of failed to mention how their previous supercomputer had turned into this giant sprawling tentacle monster? You know, you'd think it would come up at the first meeting, but no. Okay. So once you get Joey's board, put it into the shell of this cleaning droid, which is the exact same shell as he had in the first game. He's right back to being Joey, the snarky robot. And okay, look, I know this is what everyone misses about the first game. It's Joey, Foster and the wisecracking robot, yay. But hang on a minute, Joey went through this massive character development in the first game. By the end of the first game, he understood the frailty and insecurities of being a human.
Sir. I feel sorry.
Of course, you could argue that his consciousness was simply uploaded into an android and this realization never made it back to his original circuit board, so okay, I guess I can accept that circuit board Joey here isn't as up to speed as the Rubberman Joey that Foster left in charge 10 years ago. But it does still beg the question of why would they put Joey's circuit board in a museum exhibit and treat it like a deity when it has no recollection whatsoever of the past decade of bringing the society together. In fact, as far as circuit board Joey here is concerned, in this version of event, Foster left his ass to rot in the bowels of cyberpunk hell back in the original game. Why isn't he more upset? Hey, wait a minute, can you even bring Joey's board with you in the original game after you've uploaded it? Yes, you can. Well, then, hey, look, I fixed your plot here. Why not just have it be canon that Foster took Joey's circuit board back to the Gap and then built him a new Joey with all of Joey's memories up to that point intact? That would have made a lot more sense than just sticking him in this fucking exhibit. It's not like he seemed too troubled about sticking to any sort of continuity anyway. I mean, everyone here still calls him Joey, even though I'm pretty sure 99% of every player of the original renamed him Ken.
I think you need a new name, Joey. I'm gonna call you Ken.
Okay, look, all I'm saying is this, again, feels like something that could have been spent a little more time and effort on. I mean, the first line between the two is even an exchange from the first game.
Is this the best shell you could find?
Gratitude.
Yeah, that's cute. Look, I gotta say, this is all a bit too much. It feels disingenuous. It feels unearned. I mean, you could have had a whole thing where Joey had spent the last 10 years reflecting on his abandonment and Foster having to get back into his good graces. Or you could have had Joey be like shocked and delighted to see a friend that he thought was dead at the hands of Link all those years ago. But this is just right back to square one, just right off the bat. And Foster doesn't seem the least bit interested in what he's been up to for the past decade either. It's like right back to, hey, can we do my thing now? Hey, read this map for me. Cool, now interface with this transport droid. Again, just like in the original, so all the fans can clap their little hands. And don't skimp on the this is just like fucking but for robots jokes.
And that's done. Let's never speak of this again.
So what now?
Look, the probe doesn't even come out of his head now. Okay, probably because she had to stick that stupid beanie on it. Okay, yeah, I'm nitpicking now. Never mind. No, wait, I got one more. Foster is a total pushover in this game. Like, before we can go find Gordon's contact, Leet, we have to get a travel permit, and to do that, we have to pretend to be a cleaning worker like Gordon was, and get in good graces with this overzealous cleaning robot. And Foster's idea is to just play along.
I would have to play along.
Really? You can't just hack this dumb robot? No, wait, no, the hacking thing only works on what the game feels like. It'll work on tons of shit you don't need it to work on, because I spent ages barking up the wrong tree with this puzzle, making cleaning droids and billboards exchange information for no good reason, and all I had to do was turn off a sprinkler, let a bird fly onto the tree, and then turn the sprinklers back on. And all this section really does is just set fire to Joey's shell so he can yank out his circuit board and go find another shell. Well, at least Arana here gives us a travel permit for reasons. I mean, we've known her for a combined total of 2.5 minutes, but we're just that charming, I guess. And now we're finally off to find out what the hell this is all about. And the next section is on the factory floor, so it's right back to where the old game started. And yes, I'm actually excited about this. I cannot wait to see what the factory floor looks like in 2020 vision. So, on the whole, so far not too thrilled with the inelegant shoehorning in of fan service, but I'm willing to let it slide if it was just sort of a prerequisite. Okay, here's all the shit from the original game, now you can all shut up and we don't have to do this for the rest of the game. I still think the game was a bit in too much of a hurry to get the Foster-Joey dynamic back, but, let's see if it doesn't pay off down the line. Right now it came across as a bit disingenuous, but maybe it'll pay off. I mean, I imagine we'll find Joey's rubber counterpart hiding out somewhere in the sewers, and we'll all have a grand chat about the insecurities and vulnerabilities of being human, or how to cook sewer scorpions. Anyway, I'm sorry if I brought anyone down here. I'm still excited to play more, so until next time, I'll see you around the Chrono Stream. Bye.